Today we're returning to the Universim. Unfortunately, the last playthrough I had problems with my microphone, and even though I played a really long game, I had to basically scrap the whole video because the mic quality was just awful. So, with that said, this is a continuation of the same game we were playing earlier, but due to that mistake, we are magically now on the moon. So this is kind of just going to be a brief exploration of some of the things you can do on the moon and what it looks like. It will not be 8 hours. So with that said, let us continue and pick up where we left off. I'm gonna make note of a couple things. I totally cheated a little bit, and you can use your powers on the moon. So I used my powers to drop a bunch of water and plants, and so I have a little bit of a head start without having to have relied on the terraforming buildings as much. With that said, I'm gonna mention 2 terraform buildings. One I already scrapped. Well, I guess I didn't scrap it, but it's this one. This one's the hydro collider, and you basically use steel and chemicals and it makes water. It is actually much more cost effective to use this one. It's a cloud generator, and it will slowly, I say slowly, tick up the atmosphere as well as the water on the planet. So it does make a difference, and it's cool. You zoom out, you can, all of these little clouds you see are made from the atmosphere generator, except for these cool ones. These ones are already on the planet. And I want to take off my hat and give a little nod towards Critivo, because it's really cool. As you increase the amount of water in the world, you'll get these cool effects. This is different than like on the homeworld, the clouds. And it's also really cool because like when you first come to the moon, it looks exactly like the moon. It's just gray, more like this and dead. But as you continue to add water, because the temperature's so low, you'll actually get snow. And I think that's a really nice touch. So at the moment, we have about 33% of our atmosphere in. We have almost no plants and a little over half of our water. And this is what I was talking about. I totally cheated and used my creation powers like this to create a bunch of trees and other things like that. So you can totally cheat a little bit. And it's interesting, I think some of this is because the environment isn't quite right yet, so you'll get a bunch of sort of dead trees, but you also get some live ones too, so it's a bit of an interesting mix. When I first started, it was mostly just kind of these dead trees, but as the world improves, the trees improve. Another thing to notice, I don't know if there's anything you can do with it yet in a game, but there is unobtainium, and that's what it looks like. It looks like the little 2001 Space Odyssey obelisk. When you land on the moon, you get this cool, well, it's called an evolution tower. This is actually your city center until such time as the atmosphere is totally filled in. But it's cool. This is basically the rocket ship you came off on, and they'll go in and out for supplies, etc., as well as oxygen. But as you can see, they also build their own residences. So you're limited on how much space and weight you can bring. So these are the things that I brought with me on my initial thing: engineer, building, water pump, building, reservoir, building, battery, building, solar panels, eatery, warehouse, farm, and a hydro collider. One thing I will note is if you don't have those buildings packaged up like those cool little robot things, there's actually like a moving box robot thing that turns into a building. Fun fact. If you don't do that, they will have to assemble these manually, and that takes time. So if you think these are like prefabricated buildings, you're totally wrong. It doesn't work like that. They'll have to set them up manually, and they'll set them up in the order you lay them down, unless you prioritize something. So just something to be aware of. Also, there is iron, there is gas, and other resources on the moon. And this time around, one thing I was noticing in the last playthrough, if we go to our home planet, yes. Sorry, this is me just kind of catching everyone up for the most part. If we go to our home planet, and we'll get there eventually, anytime, when we get there, I didn't realize it, but if you so much as put any building over any of those kind of roads that pop up, you will have problems later in the game because there's going to be all these segmented roads. So because I put these buildings here, they're blocking the road. And you would have to bulldoze so much and then rebuild it to get those roads functional again. One thing that's interesting is that the water constantly ticks down. So unless you're coming in here and manually upping the water yourself, or you notice the atmosphere is going down, you almost have to babysit this. There is a Ministry of Ecology. I don't think it's unlocked. I unlocked just about every tech in the game that I could. Yeah, see, Ministry of the Environment. It's not available yet. I think this is something that will be available in future iterations of the game. Same with Minister of Space. But until we get those, you have to kind of babysit your planet a bit. And because they're taking up more water than it's coming down, this is gradually depleting. And this kind of goes into the mechanic of, if you paid attention, if you have this game, if you paid attention, I'm just trying to, up the water back up. Ooh, that's really bad. I got it to 100 water a second, but not sure how long it's going to take to catch it back up. It's already 10k down and this is like the most important waterway in the world, at least for this civilization. Things do continue to look cooler as time goes on. It's really awesome. But you will also continue to expand, and that means your the number of resources you're using goes up. So you're eventually going to, and the resources are limited, so eventually the world will probably die. There's a good chance that it will die. And I've been trying to keep the pollution down, but I haven't quite been too successful because I've needed more and more industry to keep up. This building is the Spaceport. You can actually click, the plant you're taking things from and the destination, and you can send over supplies. So we can send over electronics, some steel. We're really low on those because I've been continually shipping them out. And let's send a little bit of plastic. Why not? Okay, so we can launch it. And then it shows how long it will take to get there, and you can do additional launches. Unfortunately, I haven't seen it launch from the Spaceport itself. However, if we actually go over to the moon, you can see these things. So, for example, you can actually see when these things will arrive, and they have. We'll go over there. I'll show you shortly. The thing about the Spaceport is, it will send supplies, etc., but it will not send spaceships. You only get one spaceship per planet, if I remember right. So you use the Cosmodrome to load it up and send it off. So if you think you can build the Spaceport, and you don't need this, you're wrong. You need this first, and then the Spaceport. Spaceport is just for resupply and trade. I still haven't figured out how the airport quite works. It's okay. And, a lot of this expansion has been due to the different ministries you set up to, kind of keep pace with the ever-growing population. One thing I've noticed I keep having problems with is steel and electronics. In the late game, these are probably some of your biggest resources. Plastic is almost up there, but I haven't had too many problems keeping up with plastic. Gas, electronic, they're all important, but you will notice these two a lot. Electronics, steel beams. So don't get supply blocked or bottlenecked in the late game, because you will. If you're not keeping up with those, you might actually need several steel factories, several electronics factories, and then, several iron mines, and a couple other things to keep up with that production. I would say gas is very important too. It might even behoove us to put a cloud generator on here. It sounds weird. This is our home planet, but everyone is going through water so quickly that I don't know if we can keep up with it, because we're having to use this, which is technically an unlimited resource as long as we have a healthy population. But that's the catch. How long will we have a healthy population if the world eventually dies? I mean, eventually there will come a time when our resources run out and the world dies. And I think that's a theme of the game, is how transient life is. Or not transient, ephemeral. There we go. That's the right word I wanted. And as you notice, we are having trouble with the local ecology, if you will. Now, what I might do is get a couple more gas plants going up. Actually, maybe just one. And the reason we're doing that, again, is so we can make that cloud generator, so we're not doing too awful on our home planet. See, so that will be in space. So I've already showed you the hydro collider and a cloud generator. The next thing I want to build, it's not the oxygen drive, but the terraformer. I think it creates... okay, it uses fuel and chemicals, so we'll have to send up fuel. So we might need another oil deal as well, but I think we'll need this, if for no other reason than, like I said, to try and offset our consumption of water on the planet, as well as a couple other things. So hopefully our little idea will work. Trying to find space that it'll work in. Okay, there we go. And again, you don't want any of those red markers on the roads, because then that means you will have problems later on, because the roads won't connect properly. There we go. So we're going to make another gas one as well. Probably need more gas and oil. Honestly, a lot of these resources are pretty necessary in the late game. Chemicals are more for terraforming. That's what I've noticed. Gas and oil for, of course, your regular consumption of fuel, just for transporting people, but also, they tie into terraforming as well. So everything's useful in its own way. We're going to build a little engineer deal to make sure it's well maintained. And then we're also going to build another gas one, like I said, which should be under resource management. And conveniently, sort of, see if we can find a better node. Not bad. Okay, there's one 800. I saw 800 in there. Let's see if we can get it. That's close enough. And it's not messing up our roads too badly. Okay, next one thing we're going to do is get more oil. And that will be under our resource management. There we go, oil jack. Doesn't have to be perfect. Good enough. Maybe if we can get it actually built. Okay, there we go. And hopefully that will be able to keep up with our gas and oil consumption. Building the hydro collider will up that quite a bit. hopefully it'll offset it. One thing you can do to offset pollution in the game is to build parks. You're limited, though, on the number of parks you can build. So, for example, where is it? Cupidon Park, we've already maxed out. This one we have to unlock. But this one, fortunately, I don't know if there's a limit on it. Okay, there's a limit of 10, but still, let's get a couple little parks going. And then that way we can offset some of the pollution. Then we're going to go back to the other planet and see what's cooking. I have a feeling the atmosphere and a couple other things will have ticked up a couple ticks when we get back. Again, this isn't perfect. This isn't quite enough to offset our pollution, but maybe 2 more of those little parks will be enough to gradually decrease the rate we're polluting the planet. Even if you're playing this pretty eco-friendly like I am, you'll still have problems with water. And eventually, like I said, some resources are going to run out. A way around that might be to use the black market or the trade function and to trade for essential resources that are limited in the game, because I don't think when you're trading with other cities or factions or the black market, I think those resources are technically unlimited. So if you're using your power or a renewable resource like wood, it's theoretically possible, I think, maybe to stay in the game indefinitely. Could be wrong on that, though. It might be one of those things where it might not be enough to keep up. And there's probably other methods you can take, like population control, etc., to try to place a limit on how much your society is expanding. Because, it will keep expanding. And just for fun, let's take the little zoomed out view of the world. It's getting pretty overrun. Like, this side's all nature-y, but, over here, this is our little civilization. It's grown quite a bit. We got our manufacturing over here. A bunch of farms over here. I want to say those are the independent civs. And let's see, where's our little space? Our spaceport's over here. Okay, this feature is cool. It looks like 2 little starships. You can use it to access that spaceport trade menu from anywhere, so you don't have to keep hopping back and forth to do trades. I keep sending these over because we're not producing them yet. So, really, I guess. Yeah, that's the other thing, is when you have the governors on, they will use these resources. So if you're banking on it, you might have to be battling your own little management, if you will. Okay, there we go. Launch. Okay, now we're going to go back. Yes. And maybe, I probably was talking too long, so we might have missed that first little shuttle, but when another shuttle comes, I'll zoom in on it so you can see it. Okay, now we're back. And let's take a look. So in the time we've been away, the atmosphere has ticked up 2 units and 1 unit for water. So it is slowly changing. We can see all our cool clouds. These are getting bigger. You can see some of these scales on a larger scale. You can see some of these changes on a larger scale if you zoom out. This is super fun to watch. Fortunately, it looks like we're waiting for gas on it. So let's see. I think we have some gas. No, that's our iron mine. And a little farther out is our gas mine. And that's what we're using to terraform the planet. Now, one thing we should set up is electronics and steel. So let's see. I don't remember what we need for steel. The reason this is bugging us is because we're basically done with every single item of research in the game as it is. You want to take a look at it. There's maybe only one thing we don't have. And this marks the space age tech. So there's actually not a lot of it. I want to say it's right. Once you get to here, this is all the things you can do. And then there will be more implemented down here for the space age. Couple unique things that's kind of cool. Space burial. Sounds weird, but they literally launch bodies into space with a rocket, and you can watch the rocket launch. It's actually really fun. The space age is worth it just for that. Everything looks cooler. You can have like robot buildings that you box up the building, turns into like a little robot, and you can tell it to move somewhere else. There's lots of cool little things like that. We're trying to keep abreast of our power consumption. So we have 1 battery, 4 solar panels. We probably need a little more. Okay, like I said, there's a couple things we need. We've been mailing ourselves a bunch of electronics. Okay, here's the thing I was telling you about. These little shuttles come in, and they drop off these little cartons. I know that. And they burst open, and all the stuff pops out. It's actually pretty fun. If you look at the little transporter, there's even little jets they use when they're coming in. You didn't get to see that animation because it was right about where it wanted to be, but it's really fun to watch. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if the developers intend for the game. So for right now, let's see, where is everything in the solar system? I know that our home planet, maybe it's on the other side. I don't know if there's going to be seamless transitioning between planets, or if it's going to be load screens. I don't know if that's because, again, this game is still in development, or if they want like a seamless transition between the different worlds using, that zoom wheel function. So we'll see. I haven't seen our home planet from here. It's probably just a matter of I'm looking in the wrong direction, but in any case, it's still cool. I think Space Age is probably one of my favorites because you're starting off with all this cool stuff. You're having to send resources back and forth and trying to build up your own little industry here, And as our population increases, we're getting more and more little residences. I'm not sure if these will change once our atmosphere goes up or not. There's a couple things we need to build still. One is, this has been going on long enough that people are probably, sounds horrible, probably going to start dying. And because of that, we should probably build a cemetery. I can never remember where I want to say City Center has it, or Epicenter. Town Hall hasn't unlocked because we need... Oh, I thought it was because maybe once this is gone, we'll have the Town Hall. I don't remember. Space Age Cemetery. Kind of morbid, but whatever. Like I said, we'll probably need this because no one's died yet, but at least we'll be prepared when someone does die. And it's really fun to watch. Let's go back to steel production, because that is the one thing we're really hurting for. I've been trying to transfer as many beams, etc. from the home planet, but we need electronics and steel production and plastics, which is actually quite a lot. One thing I haven't checked yet is whether you can build oil jacks on the moon, and you can. In reality, this would not be possible because, it relies on literally fossil fuels. So I don't know why I'm cracking up, but it does crack me up just a little. So yeah, you can have oil on the moon on this game. Not in real life, though. That wouldn't work. Fun fact. If you didn't know. You probably did, though. I'll just give everyone the benefit of the doubt on that one. Okay. So Okay, we need glass. And okay, what do we need to make glass? Okay, so we have our cement factory, glass factory. What do we need? Okay, so we'll need glass. Unfortunately, doing things like this is going to increase our pollution. I don't really think there's a way around it. We could just keep importing things from the homeworld, so to speak. But the only thing with that is if the world dies, we're totally out of luck. So just FYI, something to keep in mind is eventually your home planet will... This is what I was talking about too. You never ever want any of those roads red. It will give you problems in the late game if you do, or when your society is actually a bit large. So never, ever put that on the roads when it's giving you that red icon. It will cause you a ton of pain because it will make going from A to B so much slower, especially when you add garages and other things that unlock cars for your citizens. Here you can see it's adding more clouds. It's so cool. The next thing I want to build, just because I think it's cool, and I just want to show you all what it looks like, is the, not the Hydro Collider, where are you? The Terraformer. We have enough to build it, it looks like. No, we don't. We don't have that many electronics. We need way more steel and electronics than we have, so we might have to up our industry, unfortunately, before we're able to build it. In the meantime, we're going to keep requesting electronics and steel. It doesn't increase your delivery time that much. There's kind of diminishing returns on keeping, small launches. And you're not using fuel for these launches either. These are essentially free launches. The only thing you're paying is time. The time that it takes to get to you. We're going to import some glass. Because until we are making these on our own, we're not going to be able to... Yeah, we have to import them. So even if you load up your ship... Uh-oh. Well, hopefully it won't crap. Oh, crap. I didn't get to that in time, but it didn't hit anything, fortunately. I wonder if this will give us a black market on here. Huh. It is. That was one thing I did read from the developers is planets that don't have an atmosphere. Early on, you will have to protect... You're more likely to have asteroids and things like that, and you'll have to protect your citizens because there's no atmosphere to, burn up that debris, if you will. So that's something that you kind of have to keep in the back of your mind. I haven't seen too many things or had too many problems, but this is also a very small colony in terms of surface area on the whole planet, or moon in this case. It's not that much, so the likelihood of something actually hitting you is lower, at least early on. Also, it's totally fine to spam your abilities here. Which we're going to totally do. I might leave that area blank so we can kind of play around with it a bit more, but there is no reason to not use some of that. If you want to just go the route where, you don't use your powers and you only rely on terraforming stuff from a role-playing thing, that's totally fine. There's no reason to not do it. And that's why I was talking about little burner jets. So, it's really fun to watch these come in for the first time, or two or three. And then there's another one. Oh, that's nifty. So, It's fun to watch these guys when you're ordering supplies. One thing you might have to be a little careful of is, and there's nothing to do about it, is sometimes these guys drop your cargo in the lake, which is fine. But if they're carrying, if they're carrying people and they fall in the lake, they'll totally drown. I had that happen once, because when early on you only get like, you can only bring a few people over, so you can use that trade thing to they're sucking up all our resources. Ah, crap. Okay, nothing's getting built because they're building more residential areas, which is fine, but we were relying on those for our other buildings. And this is a bit problematic. Oh, we already built one, that's why. We haven't assigned a governor. Let's assign a governor. We already built a university because there were so many people being born on the planet that we didn't want to fall behind and basically wait till that generation died and find out, oh, we have no educated people so to run these things. So we needed to build a university to keep up with that. So that's why we have a little university there. This is our population. So about half of our population is well educated. Unfortunately, this is really messing us up because we don't have enough electronics to build all this stuff. It's really messing up our build order. So what we might do is we might pause all of the even though these are important, we're going to pause them so we can focus on. We should have done that earlier. It's too late. They already put the resources in. I don't know how to get those resources back unless we just delete these buildings, which we very well could do. I guess we have no option to delete it. So yeah, those resources are sort of, they're not wasted, but they're not where we want them to be. So we're going to have to put in for another order, maybe several orders. And unfortunately, like I said, with the governors building stuff on the other planet, our supply of electronics is very limited. However, our steel's finally caught up. But yeah, now we're supply blocked. So something to keep in mind in the future is you might have to keep that in mind at the back of your head, that you will need to prevent yourself from getting getting supply blocked on your new planet. It's easier to take care of these things on your home planet before you come here, because our electronic production just can't keep up. And that was a problem I had too on the other planet, was finding out, oh, I should have built way more of these facilities, and only finding out after the fact and then having to wait. And in this game, if you're waiting on a resource, it can take a really, really, really long time to play the game. Like, you can easily spend 16 hours just to get to this point. It sounds ridiculous, but it's true. So this game is really fun. I enjoy it quite a bit. But you might want to increase the I want to say would be, if there is an option for it, or if there will be, I don't know if there is. You want to increase the research speed for sure, unless you want a long game, because it will take a while to get to this point. Either that or my build orders suck. It's totally possible. We'll see. Let's take a look at some pretty flybys while we're waiting on those resources. In the meantime, let's go over to the other planet, check it out, see what's going on. Try to make sure it doesn't die while we're out and away. I was hoping to show everyone the Terraformer, but again, we're kind of supply blocked right now. There's a couple of facilities we really need to build, and we don't have the resources for them. So let's go to our home planet and see what the heck's going on. Can we increase our production? So I'm going to go over to our little industrial district, if you will, and let's see what we need for electronics. Oil, gas, and iron. So I mean, and how are we doing down here? Oil, gas, and iron seem to be good, so we can plop down another electronics facility to try to keep up with that production. Let's take a look at our ecology panel. Our water still is not keeping up, nor is our this is finally good, or in the negative, so we're cleaning up more than we're sending out, but our trees are lagging behind and our water is lagging behind, and our water is the primary problem that we have on this planet right now. We're using more water, consuming more water than is coming in naturally through rainfall and other things like that. Let's see how our cloud production's doing. It's not doing so hot. We aren't getting enough gas, and this could very well be because of our road network. I wasn't even thinking about, but it might behoove us to build a little bridge right there, because right now they're having to go really far away. So we'll build a bridge right here and right there. 2 cool bridges. And I haven't actually seen what the space age bridges look like yet, so let's take a look. It's under Epicenter, if you were wondering. And let's see, how far away is that? So we want it out here. And then another bridge right here. Hopefully that will increase our speed for logistics. Because right now we're also having a lot more problems than we would normally be having, because of the way I did these roads. So, okay, well, we can get rid of that building. It's totally out of gas. And let's see, can we build another one? Actually, let's focus on bridges just to get our connectivity up a bit. Okay, so bridge, Epicenter. It's easier to kind of remember what category it's under, because if you don't, you will, you might have some problems. Okay, I'll have to clean that salvage up. There we go. Nice. And we'll salvage that building right there. Let's see, can I build one more bridge just to fix this problem? Let's take a look. Epicenter, bridge. And again, like I said, it sounds weird, but it's kind of important to remember what category the building is that you want. Otherwise, you will be, especially when you're tired, you'll just be thumbing through these all the time. It sounds super weird, but it's super helpful if you can do that. Okay, again, let's see if we can build it. Again, sounds weird, but it is what it is. Cancel. So that's what I was talking about for transforming it into a builder bot, so it lets you move it. Oh, I see, and it lets you load it into the colonization rocket. So you can actually take buildings that you've already built, and that's more the prefab route, and then turn them into bots, then load them into the rocket. Fun fact. We have not unlocked it. We have like everything for Big Ben except one little piece. Maybe on the black market we can find it, but whatever. It's very easy to get distracted in this game too. This also might help us out. Because right now we're having a ton of logistical problems. Building a transportation network that connects the very far away sections of your civilization, if you will, is probably helpful. Unfortunately, looks like they all have to be clear, so yeah, maybe we'll cancel that. Okay, so something to also keep in mind when you're building, keep space open for those hypertubes. It will allow people to go around, and I don't think it has a upkeep cost except for electricity. So much more efficient than cars. Cars are going to be a problem because they use a lot of fuel, and you're going to have to build a ton of garages to kind of keep up with the rest of your population. Right now, things are moving super slow because we have everyone's like doing things on foot. And when things are this big, it's a problem. So you'll need a lot of garages. You'll need to not block your roads. And you might have to babysit your governors a little if there's a resource limitation. So let's go over to manufacturing. We have plenty of oil and gas, or at least I hope we do. And what we're going to do is we are going to build another. Actually, you should probably build a chemical plant too, to be honest. Where are you? Electronics. There we go. I'm going to build an electronics factory. We're going to build it right here. I'm also going to build a chemical plant. Sorry, not a plastic factory. There we go. Chemical plant. And we're going to ship those out. Yay. You don't have to waste resources on the celebrations if if it's between like, hey, I need to save the planet and let's celebrate, go for saving the planet and don't stress about it. I didn't realize it would cost so much steel. Oops. Well, it might be a while before any of those are built. In the meantime, let's go back. And if I didn't mention it before, the reason I'm not using the Hydro Collider on the moon is that while it does up the water at a decent rate, it's also very resource intensive. You'll want the steel beams more for building than for using them at the Hydro Collider. So it is more efficient to just build the cloud generator because it only uses gas. The other one uses a lot more resources, and one of them happens to be very important for you early in the colonization stage of your expansion. Okay, at least the glass factory is built. Now, unfortunately, I don't remember what the glass factory actually takes. So we're going to need to build several things to get our industry going. In the meantime, we can unpause this. That we're going to leave pause because, well, reasons we still don't have any chips. And honestly, it's going to be a while before we do have them. I am tempted to cut off the playthrough here, because otherwise we'll just be waiting around for those specific supplies, and I'm not sure if that's interesting for you. I'm not sure if I'd find it interesting for myself. So what I might do is play a little in my own time, and then once we actually have those resources, and provide the planet hasn't been terraformed by then because it's taking so long, then we can come back and I can show you what some of those cool buildings look like. I love this building though. It's so cool. So right now it's forming a little cloud. And then once it's done, the cloud's going to push off. Join all the other happy little clouds. This is such a fun building. I love the atmospheric effects for this game, and how they show, progressive changes with the atmosphere and other things on the planet. So right now it's summertime or something like that. Let's see. So I guess it was winter earlier. But it's kind of cool. You'll still have seasons even on the moon. And as you continue to terraform, you'll see different changes in the landscape, so I think is a nice touch. In any case, I hope you all enjoyed. That was kind of a taste of some of the features available on the Moon update. And I'm going to try and do this a little bit on my own time so I can show you some of the other things you can do. That's it for today. This is Blue Super. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all later. Thank you for coming.